Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am PANCZASU and welcome back to Endless Legend. Now first things first, you may or may not hear some background noise. My apologies for that. Unfortunately today is extraordinarily hot, and not only I, but also my PC as well takes some issue with that. And let me tell you that if you're planning on playing Endless Legend and recording it at the same time, your computer will run quite hot, and I have to cool it down, and I had to turn on my air conditioner as a result at a fairly high power as well. So you may hear that, for which I am sorry, but it's either that or recording no video at all today. So I think, yeah, we have to roll with it. My apologies again. Now, second thing, today's videocast might be a little bit short, but it will be very specific, and I'm actually looking forward to it, because it will be a little bit different. It's still a tutorial-esque, like this entire series, I guess, but even more so than usual. This is my survival's guide. Right now, what is happening to me? It is pretty much the absolute worst-case scenario you can think of. I'm exactly in the middle of the map. I mean, however you want to look at it, I am in the middle. I spawned in the middle. That used to be my starting region. Literally in the middle, surrounded by all of the enemy AIs. Second bad thing, all of those AIs, they do not fight themselves, they only fight me. So it's a situation that doesn't happen too often unless you're in a multiplayer and everybody's trying to gang up on you, which can happen. I've seen it happen before as well. I've been recording videos of that happening. So this is a thing that happens, and I'm really happy that I am able to showcase this kind of worst case scenario. I mean, no matter how I look at this, nothing can be going worse right now for me. How much income am I gaining in my entire empire? It's a very important thing. Which actually, hold on a second, let's do it in stages. How do you know that you're in a... No, let's do it entirely differently. Let me start off from the startup, alright? When you play any game, including for this example 4X type of game, that being Endless Legend, you play for two things most of the times. You play for the experience itself, but also to win. So whatever it is that you do throughout the game, your main aim is usually to win the game, right? That's how you play. You may not really care about winning too much, but trying to win is a very important aspect of gaming, so that's what you're trying to achieve. And usually this forces some certain actions that are optimal from your part in order to try and indeed achieve this victory. But sometimes bad things happen, and this is one of those examples when everything seems to be going wrong and you suddenly realize that you can no longer think about your long-term goal of winning. You just need to switch your attention into the short-term goal of survival itself. How do you know it's happening? Well, losing your starting city is usually a good giveaway. If you lose it, then either you really didn't care about the city, which can happen, I guess, or you're actually in some really big trouble. I did care about my main city. It had a bunch of borrowed streets, it had a bunch of improvements, and I lost it. A clear sign that something is definitely going wrong and that I should consider this situation to be an emergency. Other reason, which requires a bit more experience, but other way of telling when you're in an emergency is to look at your empire-wide fixed income, or if you're in a different game, just your general income, right? So right now I've got only 2 cities, which by itself is not necessarily bad. 2 cities. There are entirely valuable strategies of winning a game, any game, most games at least, some games, with just 2 cities or less, alright? But what is important is that you look at the amount of income you have. I'm voters, I'm supposed to be having a lot of science. Am I having a lot of science? No, I'm gaining 97 science per turn empire-wide. That is certainly not something that I consider to be absolutely amazing, not in the slightest, and that is with the bonus I receive from being happy. If I were not to be happy, it would be even worse than that, although right now it's not really important. So this is the strongest thing that is supposed to be the best thing about my faction. Alright, but we're in a times of war, I'm working on industry instead, so it's natural that I'm not focusing on science. So let's look at the industry. I've got 115 industry produced per turn. Does it sound amazing? No. We're on turn 73, but that time you're supposed to have way more amount of industry than that. I cannot give you an exact number. It does vary from, I mean, on a game-to-game basis. Sometimes the map generates with a lot of industry, sometimes it doesn't. But generally, when you have this amount of industry, yeah, you are having some serious problems, and this is another sign that something is going wrong. And then, the other important way, easy way of noticing that things are going poorly, population food. How much food am I producing? Next to none. That's an entire amount of 36 food. Until 673. Super bad. How much population do I have? A grand total of 13. How much is that? Again, not a lot. So you can see now that no matter where I look, numbers are bad. I don't really care about dust and prestige, or rather influence is not also super important for voters, so that's why I'm not talking about those numbers, but they can also be an indicator that things are going wrong. Alright, so we established that I'm in a big bad situation, and also another thing that tells me I'm in a bad spot is that everybody is at war with me, with the exception of those vocal lords that may go out to war with me any moment now, because I am weak and it's AI that likes to declare war on you. Alright, so now we definitely know that everything is going super poorly. What do you do now? Well, as I said before, you need to change your attention, you need to change your goals. There is no long-term strategy for you now, it is only now, here and now. So what do you want to do? First things first, analyze your surroundings. I'm in the middle of the map. The worst possible situation to be in when you are defending against multiple invaders. I can be attacked from all sides, and in fact I can be also attacked at once as a direct result of that, which is not something you want to happen. If you think about even a down movie like, let's say 300, those guys, when they were able to defend in a choke point, they were able to defend very well. When they were surrounded, they died. It's the same in real life, it's the same in video games, it's something very natural. If I have to defend against every of those AIs, sending armies at me one at a time for one direction, I can do it. Trust me, there are tactics that allow you to do it quite efficiently. It's not easy, but it's doable. Right now, however, I'm attacked from all sides at the exact same time. It would be... I'm not yet. This AI is yet to declare war on me, the purple AI, but I have no doubt it will soon. So, I will not be able to hold this. What are your best places to defend in Endless Legend? Choke points and cities. This region called IMS is probably a very good example of both, in fact. Cities are important to defend because, first and foremost, only one player can attack you at a time when you are defending in a city, and secondly, he can only send one army at you. He can have reinforcements, however, so that's something to keep in mind, but you can also have a very substantial army within your city borders. Another thing is that also cities are supposed to give you a defensive bonus, which is again something that is definitely appreciated when you're defending. Keep in mind, when you're defending, you do not even want to win battles, you just don't want to lose them. This allows for draws. There are tactics that I'll try to show you that can make draws easier to accomplish, and that's something you should be focusing on when you have problems with the amount of troops you are having and you just want to stall for time, which I certainly do right now. The other big part are choke points. As you can see, I've got plenty of them. If you want to go to IMT, you have to go through a series of choke points. The one and most important notable choke point is between IMT and Anaurlar, right here, because it is completely impossible to walk from this region to this region if there is a unit standing on this tower. That's because of how the wall generated. The only gap between the two regions is this one gap that is occupied by the Sisters of Mercy village, which you cannot stand on. We can pass through it, but not stand on it. Then what do we have? We've got a lot of cliffs. Again, in this situation it's not a very big deal because you can still walk alongside them, but other cliffs, yeah, they certainly limit the player's options. Then we've got a lake. Again, you cannot walk through a lake. A problem for everybody who tries to walk through here. And then we've got those mountainy ridge thingies. And they make an amazing place for me to defend because enemy has only very small areas that he can fit through. If a battle is declared against me in IMTS, then I can position my troops in such a way that the enemy on the battlefield will have to go through one of those, how they call it again? I'm sorry, my memory just failed me. Choke points, that's it, that's how it's called. The enemy will have to go through those choke points in a battle because they're set up in such a way, and as such I think it should have a relatively easy time of defending. It's all nice and dandy, but it's still being surrounded, and even though there are choke points around, there are still plenty of entries into IMTS. I do want to hold this city, but I consider it to be a very difficult task that I know I may not actually be able to achieve. So what do I want to do? Let's have a quick look at the map again. Right now I'm surrounded. What do I want to do? Not be surrounded. How can I achieve it? Move my cities somewhere else. Can I move my cities? No, there are no flying cities in the game yet, and I shouldn't say this, but hopefully never. Because, in all honesty, if you have cities that can travel from region A to region B, this would be imbalanced. If you have cities that can only travel within one region, then that doesn't actually do much, and it can possibly be very game-breaking for the game engine. It could be difficult to handle just for the engine alone. So, yeah, you cannot move your cities, but you can take over enemy cities. Like, for example, this one. Look at this city. So nice, so beautiful, lush green. And on this side of the map, there is a vast ocean. To the east of this city, it is impossible for anyone to attack me from over there. The only way to get to this city is from the west, southwest, and northwest. On northwest, I'm 90% certain nobody has settled there. There's probably no reason why anybody would try to. It's probably just snow over there, and Broken Lords, the purple player, don't like snow. As for southwest and west, well, that's just the direction attacks may come from, but it's not a very big deal. There is, unfortunately, still a way to go into the city from over here, and I assume this also connects to some other land. It does seem this way. However, it's still a much easier location to defend than in IMT, simply because if AI wants to attack me, or if a human player would want to attack me in a multiplayer game, it is just a much greater distance between me and the enemy cities, and as such the defender's advantage is increased. Because when the enemy, let's say, sends army to Ulmin from Unreal on Test 23, it would take him, let's say, like, I don't know, let's say 4-5 turns to get there. During those 4 or 5 turns, I can still keep making units that will be there when the enemy arrives. And if the enemy also does the same thing, those reinforcements will take a while to get there as well. So they will not be there instantly, whereas I will have all my troops instantly. So hiding in the corners of the map, a very valuable, what's the word for that? A valid strategy, that's the word I was looking for. And as such, I have this one last army that's actually any decent over here. And I'm actually curious, do I have the tech that allows me to have more units in an army? I don't remember. No, I don't. That's very unfortunate, but I can deal without it. So this army is fairly okay. 2 units that are melee units, or 2 units that are ranged. When I assign a hero to it as well, it's actually pretty much unstoppable until it fires at least 2 or 3 enemy armies. Then it might be killable, but even then at a high cost, just because of how powerful my hero and units are. So let's start moving in this general direction. I will need to conquer this city because it's much easier to defend. It's probably also fairly well developed, but I'm not expecting any wonders. It's just important that I have this city because it will be easier to defend. Now, does it mean that I'm abandoning IMT? No, I will keep trying to make units over here, but I have no doubt that this city will fall right now. I just see no way of being able to hold this city because, yeah, how can I possibly achieve this? It's going to be overwhelmed very quickly, and a player might not utilize the fact that I have barely any units guarding the city, but a human would. So I'm assuming the city is gone. So what does it left me with? Varais. Not too many enemies are nearby, so I should be okay. I should not lose the game by the lack of cities, as long as I defend it for as long as it takes to capture the enemy city. So I'm relatively safe-ish. As safe at least in terms of how safe you can be in this kind of situation. So okay, I've got a plan in terms of battle strategy and whatnot. But what about anything else? What about science, for example? Right now, as you can see, I'm researching diplomat mans. I shouldn't do that, and let me tell you why. First things first, I'm doing this for 2 reasons. One reason is because I'm relying and hoping that the purple Broken Lords will want to trade with me. And as such, I could trade some of my luxuries to them because I've got plenty of abundant luxuries, luck dice, and I'm hoping to get dust from it, right? That's the main reason number 1. It's actually not actually the main reason. The main reason why I'm doing this is because I'm recording a videocast for YouTube, and I want you to see more advanced, although still very basic, diplomacy in action. That's why I'm researching it in reality, and that's why I'll keep researching it. However, if I were to play this offline, I would not actually go for diplomat's bans. Because, A, it's very unreliable. It's not a good idea to rely on somebody else to help you. Even in a multiplayer game, when people are smarter and are more likely to make, smart decisions and not just gang up on you for no reason, even then you should not rely on somebody else if you are in a bad spot. It's just do not trust other people. It will do you harm more than good. I mean, to a certain degree, don't trust them. You can trust a little bit, I guess. Either way, that's the point. So, in a normal game, I would now stop resetting Diplomat's Mans. Yes, it will mean that I'll lose this entire progress on this entire research. I don't care, it's not on my top priority list right now. And in fact, in the future, I would not even lose this progress. It's just an alpha thing. So, even more so than usual, I would want to end this. So what do I want to go for? Era 3, we don't care about that. All of this is a distant future for us, we don't care about that, we care about survival. What do I need for survival? As you may have noticed, I am no longer capable of making Harmonites. That's because I was gaining Harmonites from this village right there, Silex village, which is no longer within my empire, and as such I can't actually have them assimilated. Which is a very big problem because it means I've got no real infantry stompy dudes to actually protect my empire. So what do I need to do? Titans is the answer. Titans! It's a unit that I was actually gaining up until now, but now I need them more so than ever. And there's actually a different reason. I would have gone for Titans even if I still had access to Harmonites. The reason being is they're simply more tanky, if I remember correctly, or they can be made more tanky at the very least. And the important part is, when you're on the defensive, Glass Cannon strategy is not really what you're going to go for, because when you go for Glass Cannon, the most natural response for an enemy player is to go for also go for Glass Cannon. And in this situation, the player with most industrial wins. 99% of the time. That's just a fact. So what you can do to try and avoid it? Make tanks and stall for time. Buy yourself some time to stay in the game for a little bit longer so you can actually start playing normally again. Titans are good for that because they can not win your battles, but I can make you survive battles against all odds, which is exactly what we need right now, and that's why I'm going to go for it. So let's go ahead and try to get ourselves a Titan as soon as Diplomat's Balance is finished, which again, in normal game, I would stop researching right now, but since it is not a normal game, it is for YouTube, I will not actually rush Titan right away. But normally, that's certainly what I would do, just to buy some more time for me. In the future, who knows what will happen? When you're about to be hanged, always ask for a glass of water. You never know what is going to happen in the next minute or so. Always ask for a glass of water. That's my advice for the day. Most important one, in fact. Wow. It's actually surprising. Do you know how long this video is? Yeah, you probably are looking at the time right now, and I have not progressed a single 10, but I think that things that I'm talking about are important, so I think we're not wasting time right now, even if we're not seeing a lot of action. Alright, so, next thing's also relatively important. I'm playing as the Voters. No matter who you're playing as, you're probably going to play as one of the major factions, and unless you are... I didn't notice that those guys are here before because they were hidden kinda. They actually look kinda cute, you know what? Never mind my they look delicious and adorable. Wow, actually kinda cute as well. Alright, never mind it. Let's keep talking about relevant stuff. Sorry. So, I'm playing as the Voters, and unless you're playing as the Wild Walkers, which are by far the least interesting, I mean, I like them actually, but they have the least well-developed faction-like features aside from really cool units in relation to other factions. I mean, other factions have more developed metagame, Wild Walkers don't. They are just flat-out industry bonus. So, when you're playing as anybody but Wild Walkers, you'll probably have some kind of a major faction trait that is unique to you and only you that you can abuse. In my case, it's affinity to a strategic resource. I've been stalling off from doing that up until now because I want to see if there's adamantine or paladin anywhere on the map that I would gain in large quantity, and as such I would gain more benefits from my holy resource. And that's a fair strategy, I like it a lot, but we are now in a situation where everything is going absolutely wrong. So I now realize that in such a situation I need to abuse anything. I need to use every leverage I can get. Holy resource is one of this is the kind of leverage I'm looking for because it does allow you to gain some extra structures. It does allow you to teleport. I need it. So let's have a quick look. I'm generally going to try and run away to the east. What is in the east? There is titanium there. I do not see anything else. but there is also titanium on the lands that I'll probably be at war with soon enough as well. No glassity whatsoever, so titanium it is. I have less titanium than glassity right now, which is fairly unfortunate, but I am left with no choice. I'm not going to wait until era 3. As I said, it is an emergency situation for us. There is no room for doubt, there is no room to wait until the future, there's no room for long-term plans. You need to plan for now and then. Because, yeah, sure, it might come back to bite you in the A in the future, it most actually will in fact, but it's better to be alive and in a bad spot than be dead. So, as such, yes, I'm sure I want titanium to be my strategic resource, thank you very much, game. Now, as such, I will be in the future able to teleport and whatnot, which will be fairly useful. As you can see, that's the icon right there. But I need to activate my strategic resource booster in order to teleport. Do you want to do that though? Well, we can go ahead and try. So there we go. Do you want to use this pack of resources to get an Empire boost? Yes. So now I activated the teleport, and what happens next? The army doesn't have enough remaining movement points, because I forgot I already moved it. Well, that's a bummer. I could reload the save file because I did nothing, I was just talking. And in fact I will, just because I want to show you teleportation, so stay tuned for just a split second. I want to show you teleporting, because yeah, it is a thing. Alright, we're back, and as you can see I actually moved my army because now I knew that I want to show you teleport, so we're ready to teleport. So let's go ahead. My army is in a city tower, which isn't a requirement for you to teleport. I have activated my titanium booster resource, so let us go ahead and teleport my army to the race. What did that do for me? Saved me a lot of time. Walking over there would take me probably at the very least 2 or 3 turns, and during this time I was likely going to be attacked as well, simply because, well, there are bodies in the way. As you can see, there are some of my rivaling warring factions that I have to fight to get here, which would cost my... hold on a second, I knocked something over. Which would cost my units health, and also possibly time, because I wouldn't be able to walk in a straight line. Maybe I would have to walk around some people. It is possible to body block in this game, and you need to be aware of this fact. So yeah, that's how teleportation works. As simple as that. There's no real any complex mechanic to it, but it is something that you should abuse as voters. Our factors also have other moves that they can use in a pinch, with the exception of Wild Walkers. As I said, Broken Lords, where their entire gimmick is to buy out units, so in a time of need they'll just buy out the units that they need to get. Necrophages, in the time of need, they eat dead, and as such they gain a huge bonus to population and get enough production to actually create an army as well. Again, nifty feature. And voters, they teleport in order to gain enough movement to actually get a decent map presence and get anywhere they need to be. Fairly nice. Iron Mages in the future, well, let's just say they have something way cooler than all of those things combined. I really like Iron Mages, but that's a subject for a different series. Either way, there is that. Now, I'm now finally ready to proceed to the next turn after only like 20 minutes, nothing, right? But there's one more thing. Usually in a normal game you also have access to quests. My quest is bugged. As we all are aware, I was never able to get past the very first quest that you get as the voter. It is actually impossible to achieve it for me for some reason, one reason or the other. It is entirely possible that I specifically still need to pacify and assimilate this particular village instead of any other. And as such, well, I'm probably not going to succeed finishing this quest anytime soon, if ever. You will not be in this situation. You will have some kind of a faction quest that you will be able to fulfill. If that's the case, look at the reward and see if it is worthwhile. Maybe it will give you something useful. For example, Titan Bones. Oh yeah, I could use those right now really badly. But other things like tech, weapons, dust, all of those things, valuable resources that you can use in a time of need. So sometimes, even when you are surrounded, even when your armies are scarce, it is still a good idea to fulfill a quest that would help you in this situation. I mean, unfortunately I cannot, as I explained. I can go for more enemies, this gives me nothing. A crossbow ain't gonna help in the war at all. So as such, I unfortunately cannot use this leverage, but you will be able to. So always look at your quests, see how far away they are from you, see how difficult they are to achieve, and think about the cost of moving your army to fulfill those quests and gaining the reward from them. If it is worth it, go for it, because it might save your life. Also, if we are talking about your main faction quest, you would also do well to memorize more or less what your future faction quests are. Because it's possible that, for example, one quest gives you nothing valuable, but the next quest after that is very easy and it gives you exactly what you need. Because some quests have random rewards, some quests have locked-in rewards that are always the same. You need to be aware of that, but that's actually a next level and you don't need to consider yourself too much about it. Alright, let us finally progress this 10, and I'm thinking that this videocast will just feature a few 10s. Because of reasons. Alright, so white walkers are actually going to attack me. They will only start off with one unit, but they'll gain a ton of reinforcements. It's okay, I'm going to try and rush the enemy, kill him before the reinforcements arrive, to then be able to kill them one by one. Is it possible? Slightly. Because as the battle starts, the enemy will immediately gain 2 more units. If those are demons, well, I'm in some pretty bad spot. If those are, however, the carry rangers, I could maybe still try and stab them. So let's by all means go into manual mode, have a look at our battle, and see what we can do to actually win it with as few losses, or in fact no losses, if at all possible. First things first, we do want to be on high ground at all times. The enemy will almost certainly have the initiative advantage on me. It's a demon, they have a lot of initiative. Now, what demons do not have is movement. They have one movement on the battlefield, something that will probably be changed in the future. However, right now they move like snails, for example. So I can move in my archers forward, and in fact is exactly what I'm going to do, because I want to be able to rain arrows on this dude as soon as possible to do as much damage as early as possible. Alright then. Now, something you need to know about the demons. When I can actually select this guy, you can see that he's got the intimidation aura. What is it? Why does it sound so scary? It's not actually scary. All that intimidation aura does is it lowers the initiative of all the enemy units around the demon. Initiative is highly the most important resource you have in a battle, and as such I consider it to be a fairly meh ability. It has its uses, but they are few and far between. And in all honesty, intimidation aura should, in my opinion, lower the attack of everybody nearby by a very small amount, but still. It would be very powerful, yes, but right now it's just kinda too meh and feels like a waste. Alright then, the enemy indeed went in with a bunch of tornadoes? No, a bunch of demons. So what do I want to do in this situation? I do not want to be on low ground. Am I in low ground right now? No, I'm actually on high ground, I mean on the same ground as the enemy. So what do I want to do? I want to move slightly forward, I guess, but make sure that my units actually also stay on the high ground. The last thing I want to happen is that they step down, and I do not trust my army commanders, AI commanders, to make my Selix not step down to this pit. And if they do that, it would be fairly bad for me. So I'm going to make them move one tile forward. If those units cannot do it, then they'll stay in place and do nothing, which is fine. If they can move forward, then that's all the better, because they will be in a better spot for me. What about my rangers? They are staying where they are right now. I do not want them to move anywhere, so they'll stay right here, and they'll probably kill this demon in the first few volleys. In fact, I'm tempted to actually tell all of my ranged units to actually hold their ground, because I don't want to walk forward. Then again, yes, I do want to walk forward, because when the enemy archers come in, I want to be able to kill them. But then again, when they come in, I'll have another planning phase, so let's actually stay in place. I'm being very indecisive, I'm sorry, it happens when I record videos. I would love to tell this guy to move in where the select is right now. Unfortunately, it is still not something that is implemented, so I have to suffer through this bit of inconvenience for the time being. Fair enough, I can live through that. Let's go ahead and launch the battle. My hero is going to pack a nice bit of punch and in fact kill this guy in one hit, which is very nice. Mama is unfortunately unable to attack the enemy. Oh, and I forgot that the enemy can only move in one tile at a time. Why did I forget? Because I'm a dummy, but it happens, and in fact the enemy was able to deploy their units right now instead of waiting for the next 10 fairly bad. However, I was able to kill both demons before they were able to do anything whatsoever, and the demons are scary. They have a nice amount of damage and health, but not very good against bows, so I was able to kill them relatively easily. Now the enemy only has ranged units, and as scary as they may be, they are ranged, they are not very good when fighting in melee combat. and this is exactly what I'm aiming to do. So let's just go ahead and charge at the enemy ranks with everything I've got, and simply walk forward and try to finish the enemy off. This battle went okay, because I was able to snipe the enemy's mid shield early on in the game, and kill all the protectors of the ranged units, and as an addition to that, my hero is also the one taking damage, not my more valuable and not immortal units, because hero, keep in mind, she will stay on the battlefield and on the map as long as you don't lose a battle, which is again something that will make defending your empire much easier. Potentially harder as well if the enemy hero is attacking you, which you cannot kill, but in such a situation I still believe that it's better to be a defender. Either way, the Wild Walkers are kinda dead now. They're just, you know, piling up and being killed one by one, which is something that we really love to happen. We're just killing them one by one and being very happy about this whole affair. And the enemy is defeated. We killed a lot of units, suffered no losses whatsoever. We lost a bit health on our Harmonites, which is not optimal, especially since we cannot make more of them, but hey, it could be way worse than that. Meanwhile, Varys met another Marine who will definitely live in here. So what do we want to do next? Well, I'll continue working on my science in the city, which may be surprising, I know, but I need my talents ASAP. And if our rushing talents, which is something I should be doing in fact, this is exactly what would save me the game possibly, but since I am working on deployments once for no reason other than the fact that I'm recording this for YouTube, then this, you know, is not the optimal thing to do. And you know what, recording is one thing, but not dying is another. Maybe, no, let's just keep working on the science, I guess. I'll keep making Marines. Now, I may want to consider making Dawn officers, but because Charger is not really implemented, they are worthless. They have little defense, little health, little attack. They did have very little, I'm actually exaggerating, but they are not worth their cost, in my honest opinion. And those guys are already using titanium, mind you. So it's no, I don't want to spend my resources on them. I'd much rather make a bunch of Marines that will all get killed once enemy tries to attack them in melee, but at least those guys can pack a bit of a punch before that happens. Dawn officers can't. Alright then. Now I got a lot of movement, so what I want to do is go ahead and clean up this guy before he does anything annoying. I think in auto battle I shouldn't suffer any casualties or damage, and indeed I didn't. Game was smart enough to not make me go through it. So let's go ahead and continue moving to the east with the goal of capturing this city. And I'm thinking that I'll end this recording as soon as I do capture it, because I have other things that I need to... What the... Well, this guy was in a hurry. I guess they're abandoning the city. Well, I cannot blame them. They probably know that I'm going to try and destroy it, and possibly I'll be able to. So let's try and take it. Is there any defender inside? No, there was no defender. I was able to take the city, and I'm able to assimilate Hunts! Oh, I'm punching my chest right now, because this is the best manufacturing you can assimilate as the voters. Not only you have access to a flying unit, which you normally cannot get, which is also a very potent and powerful unit, mind you, that can also zap people with lasers lightning. That's not actually lasers, but it's lightning, that's almost like lasers. But also you can increase size, which you need as the voters. I'm going to assimilate them right away, even though we are only 5 turns from, what's it called? From new empire plan. However, as I said, we are trying to survive, we need to play for short-term strategy. And since we have Hunts, or rather Undead as the units are called, we are going to use them because they are really nice frontline soldiers that can attack plenty of people at once, and to make it extra brutal, they are just cool looking. That's my definition of extra brutal apparently. Let's go ahead and retrofit them. Now, because I made titanium my holy resource, I cannot afford to use it at all because it's too valuable. Which is a shame, because titanium is actually really useful for defending. And I only did it because I could not see any other resource. It is why you normally want to play optimally in terms of your long-term strategy, but because I was in a pinch, I decided to show you exactly what I would do if I were in a bad situation. Which I was, mind you, against human player I would probably be in a far worse situation by now, and probably would only have 2 cities now, because I would probably lose Imra already. But the enemy AI is still relatively dumb-ish, so I did not take too much of a beating as of yet. Either way, I'm obviously going to equip those guys with as much defense as humanly possible. I cannot, hold on a second, I cannot give them a shield because they're not the kind of unit that can have shields. They can have other things. So let's have a quick look. I can either go for a sword that increases those guys' defense slightly and also gives them a very nifty amount of extra 13 damage, or alternatively, I can go for this, which doesn't give me, oh wait, does it? I'm having trouble making distinctions between the icons. Either way, that's slightly less damage, by 1 I mean slightly less. But it does give me more critical chance, and it does give me more initiative. It also gives me Night Slayer too. I don't care about this at all, and as cool as this looks might look, it is not useful for me. The enemy is not using infantry almost at all, and I don't care about the extra initiative either. I do however care about extra defense and range slayer against wild walk. Against wild walkers. This is amazing. Yes, please. Now, I do not have access to enough titanium to use, but I do have access to glass steel. So as such, I can go for sharp sense that will make those guys extra defensible when facing ranged units. But the Hordes have this unfortunate thing about them, which is they actually are not super defensive. They can be killed with relative ease. They can hit like a truck with chain landing, mind you. And they are flying, which is also very useful. But they are not super defensive. So what I want to do is give them the ring made of glass steel. Why? 2 reasons. First and foremost, it does give you more defense, which is something I really truly do need. Secondly, it gives you 5 initiative. On those guys, you do want initiative. Why? They have plenty of battle movement. At least if I remember correctly, they should have plenty of battle movement. And you can use them to flank the enemy archers and kill them before they can do extra damage to you, which is the main reason why you would want to use Ended in a battle. You just ignore the enemy, normal units, fly past them and attack the rangers and kill them super quickly. This ring allows you to do that beautifully and very easily, which is why I'm going to make those guys wear it. And in fact, let's make sure that this new version of Ended is in fact being produced. Thank you very much. Now, let's have a quick look at our new city before we actually wrap up this video. What does it have? It does have a bunch of things, of those useful, however, I'm afraid. Afraid, right? It's actually very good. And I can say that I would get a considerable bonus if I were to actually work on food production in this particular city. And right now, this is the way that the AI decided to split the population in the city. However, right now, I need an army and I need the badly. I need to defend my cities and I need to conquer as many cities as I possibly can within as short of a time period as possible again. And as such, I have a choice of either going for a lot of military or going for a lot of science. Because right now this place is relatively protected, I just drove the enemy away from this location and I do have an army nearby. I don't need this place to produce me extra units. Again, I'm not trying to defend the Emirates, I accept the fact that I am probably going to lose it. Fine, take it, I'll take it back sometime later. All around, however, is probably not going to be attacked anytime soon, and I would much rather it work on science than anything else, because it may give me access to those titans a little bit faster, and I do still need a frontline unit like a titan. What do I want to do in the city in the meantime, however? Units. I mean, everything I said is true, but I can still spend this time making units. And the gold is nice and whatnot, but seriously, it is a long-term strategy to go for gold. Now we don't care about it. We care about the units. And I'm gonna need some ended enemy marines and ended enemy marines. So let's just make all of those things right away and continue exploring, go down to southeast. That's a ruined village. And try to capture another city if possible. Again, right now I do not care about long-term strategy in the slightest. I only care about survival, and that's it. And the winter has struck, which is actually potentially good, because it means that the enemy is going to have a much harder time attacking me. Winter does slow your growth, but because right now I'm in a mode where I don't care about long-term strategy, it's fine. Because this hinders my enemy more than me, because I'm defending from the enemy assaults. Winter right now is actually a blessing in disguise. And also I'm gaining extra resources during the winter, which is not the best because I still don't have any access to titanium whatsoever. Do I? Yeah, I don't have any access to titanium. Oh wait, no I do. That's why I went for titanium. Gee, my mistake. Anyway, yeah, winter is actually fairly good for me, even though it does slow my growth on my entire empire. And AI declared war on me because they are bastards. So, Diplomats Mass, we are probably not going to see it go into effect, but maybe I'll be able to haggle a peace treaty with somebody just to show you how it works. There isn't much to it anyway, because right now AI is super basic, so don't expect much, even if it does work. Alright then, I think we can end this videocast more or less right now. Because I showed you things that I wanted and needed to show you. And there was a lot of talking, sure, but next cast I expect there to be a lot of battles anywhere because AI will start launching its next wave of assaults, and now also my counterattacks. Things should be happening. But right now I'm happy I got this video out of the way where I was just simply explaining what you do when you're in a bad spot, and I certainly was in a bad spot. I think there is no denying of this fact right there. Ladies and gentlemen, it was PANCZASU, also known as the Mighty Mixpire. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you online.